Hey everyone, welcome back to Community Conversations with HannahJoyTV. I'm so thrilled to be joining you all again, especially during these times. It's time to start focusing more on the amazing people who are doing great work in this world and in our community. So today we are joined by two young leaders in North Carolina who are the founders and leaders of the Wake County Black Student Coalition. So please join me in clapping it up for them. Yay! Thank you all so much for being here today.
Of course.
So let's dive right in. The Wake County Black Student Coalition. This was just started recently. Can you talk about why y'all felt the need to start this and what this group is all about?
Yeah, so I'm Victoria Smith. I'm the founder of the Wake County Black Student Coalition. And I guess, Jakob, you can introduce yourself as well if you want to.
Yeah, my name is Lemma, also co-founder of the Wake County Black Student Coalition.
So I think our big thing, it's so funny because like every time someone asks us like, how did you guys start this? Like, it was literally just me sitting at home with my mom, like watching CNN and kind of like just seeing the world like unfold. And I remember like calling Jakob and I was like, dude, like we have to do something. Just 'cause, like Jakob and I have been friends for like a hot minute throughout high school and stuff. And so he's someone who, I trust like kind of like to take this and not just like do it, but like do it well and like help me throughout all this kind of stuff. And so definitely like, we have other team members on our board, like Reagan Razone, Jasmine Venus, just Sangha Bull, and like we are truly a team. I know they're not here today with us, but like truly it's not just me or just Jakob, or like it truly is like all of us working together cohesively. And honestly, I think our biggest thing is we got so kind of tired of just seeing these adults kind of come, and we're glad that they get paid to take care of the school system and like make these decisions and stuff, but like they weren't listening to us and they weren't hearing us out. And so we thought, what, why not do it ourselves? Like there's no reason why we can't do it. Yes, we are young, yes, we are minority students, but we're smart and we're intelligent and we are quick thinkers. And so I think as a unit, like there is so much power, not even within our coalition, but just like with like our generation. Like there's so much power and unity and stuff. And so we're like, why not start something? What's the worst that happens? So
Yes, I love that message. There's so much power in unity. If you're just joining us, you all, we have Yakob Lemma here today, as well as Victoria Smith. They're the leaders of the Wake County Black Student Coalition, which is based in North Carolina. And they're working for, students to make sure that their concerns are heard, that their voices are being heard, that change is going to come. So we're so grateful that we're joined again by Jakob and Victoria, and they're in high school, y'all, and they are doing it already. So we are just so proud of you all. We heard from Victoria a little bit about why you started this, and I think that's so cool that you were just at home, watching what's happening, and then, you're like, what can I do? What can I do about this? And then you jumped right in. Jakob, what about you? What led you to, wanting to be a part of this and wanting to join forces?
Absolutely, yeah. I remember the day like vividly. I was literally just on my bed, just like mad, like sad. I was just like been feeling powerless, right? And I got a FaceTime call from Victoria, and answered it, and she was just like, "Jakob, we got to do something. We got to do something." And I was just like, "Absolutely right, right." And the thing about me and Victoria, we're very similar, especially when it comes to leadership, to like teamwork. We're like we work on those things. We're go-getters. We get things done, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons. That's why I was so excited when she brought up the idea of forming this coalition. And the first thing that we did was we started up a Google folder and a Google Sheets. We started up a list of resources. Who can help us? Who should we reach out to? What are next steps? And that's what I love about it is the chemistry that we have, and it's so amazing to see how we can be not only our youth, but we're inspiring adults as well. And I find so beautiful about I know when we planned our first protest, so many organizations like collaborated, and we had a huge turnout, and it was amazing. We were getting our voices heard, and biggest thing that we want so many times is that our youth is silenced. Oh, he's too young. We don't know what he's talking about. They're too young. They don't know what they're talking about. But that's not what it is at all, because we're the ones that are being affected by these policies that they, and I find it, it's like saddening. I'd be angered that, our student voices are not valued when they're in these policymakers. That's what this is all about. That's the reason why we formed. So.
Yeah, it's so important because you're right. You can be 10 years old changing the world, and it doesn't take an adult to dismiss the wrong and fight against it. And you all are doing that, and you all should be respected for your work. You should be, applauded for your work because, again, no matter how young, no matter how old, we can make a difference. So it's really inspiring to see. And with everything going on, today it marks 5 months since Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home. And then, of course, everything that happened this year from, seeing what happened with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and so many other brothers and sisters who have lost their lives to countless injustices. As students, what is that process for you sort of navigating this space? I know it's been around obviously for so long, but what is your perspective on all of this?
Victoria, you want to take that?
I mean, yeah, it's so funny because I think it was just a few days ago, one of Jakob's friends made a picture of because we have kind of a group picture of me and the other leaders and stuff from our first protest. And it's so funny because someone made an edit of it and sent it to Jakob, and it was us, and they put Dr. King and Malcolm X in the photo, and it was really cool. And I think it's funny because even my mom was talking because my family, we were all sitting down watching oh gosh Congressman John Lewis, I'm sorry. We're watching his funeral and his memorial service, and I remember my mom was kind of turned to me because it's been hard because my parents, they're trying to understand everything going on and why us as seniors want to protest and get out there and that kind of stuff. And so we were sitting there when we were watching that thing, and I think it was they're reading John Lewis had made his this, I guess it was kind of his final essay. In it, he said that just kind of getting into good trouble, and that's the quote of the past few months is getting into good trouble. And so my mom kind of turned to me and she was like, you know what, I don't understand everything that you're doing, but continue to get into good trouble, continue to disturb the peace, continue to cause, and I'm not saying do vandalism and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time it's when it comes to these riots that were happening towards the beginning, and vandalism and disturbing the peace and stopping traffic and getting people to listen and stuff, if you're so mad and upset about that, then you're missing the whole point. It's not about these riots. It's not about the protest, or I'm sorry, it's not about the action of causing destruction, but it's about, well, why are they doing that in the first place? What makes people feel so oppressed and feel so not listened to that they have no choice but to go out and protest, but to go out and cause a scene, but to go out and to be heard, essentially. And so, the fact is, I think that my parents' generation, past generations, a lot of times people got the chance to avoid having these heavy talks about racism and oppression and systemic oppression, and how all these institutions are continuing to put Black and people of color, down and not giving us fair chance. But now, I mean, I love my generation. I think that we are we're truly coming to terms with the fact that because we have social media and it's spread, information can spread like that. And even right now, we're in the middle of pandemic, and we're still having interviews. We're still on the phone. We're still getting the chance to call our friends. We're still using social media and that kind of stuff. If we can do that, real change, nah, And so I think when we talk about these greats, the Black Panther Party and MLK and Malcolm X and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of funny because I'm not doing no, don't put me beside them. They're legendary people, but I think no matter how big or how small, it's if you're fighting for justice And if you're fighting for change, like, that matters. So whether you're starting a club at your school, whether you're, maybe you are leading a 5,000 people march, and that's great and all, but it's like, whatever you do, as long as you are continuing to fight for justice, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, as long as it's in the right direction.
That's right. That's right. It doesn't matter what step, as long as you're continuing to push forward, because there's so many people in this together. And just want to show some comments here that are coming in before we continue our conversation. Mulu, hi, love. I'm proud of you, my nephew, and Victoria. Keep it up. Very good job. And then, of course, I'm very proud of, she said that again. Congratulations. Thank you so much. So that is Yakob's auntie / my mother. Yakob is my cousin, for those of you who don't know. And so so honored to have both of you all here with us today. And you all are really a light, because we can't pretend like all this is over. We can't sit here. The momentum that was here 5 months ago, 4 months ago, that needs to still continue. And you all are continuing that. You all created a whole organization around this, and so what are some of your objectives as you push forward? What are you all trying to accomplish? If you could share some of those with everyone tuning in.
Absolutely. So we've actually created a 5 demands. We call it Big 5, and I'd be happy to share. So number one is, it may be a bit controversial, but it's number one is the abolition of school resource officers. I'm happy to go into that, or should I? Do you want me to say all? Talk about it, or do you want to talk about it by one?
Yeah, why don't you list all 5 of them out, and then we can go through a couple of them.
Sure. Okay, so number one is the abolition of school resource officers. Number 2 is staff accountability. The staff needs to be for their hateful and racist. Number 3 is Wake County Black Student Coalition chapters, or any type of platform minority students can speak up on. Number 4 is a safe and organized system to report sexual harassment. And number 5 is to integrate more Black history into all of our programs. So those are our big 5 demands. Currently, and
those are important demands. Those are all very important, that are not just going to affect you all and this current generation, but all the generations that are coming after you all in your hometown or in your state, and even hopefully in this country as well. So let's talk about that. With the school resource officer, what do you say to people who say, and I know this is something we've had a conversation about, but, people are saying, oh, well, the school resource officer is supposed to be there to protect the students. What's going to happen if they're not there anymore? What do you say to those families who express those concerns?
Absolutely. Victoria, you want to take it?
I think the biggest thing a lot of people don't realize, the biggest kind of argument for SROs is that, well, what about school shootings? What if, some teenager comes in with a gun and starts shooting up a school? And so one fact that nobody who's, saying that argument actually knows is that school resource officers, the big push for them was after the Columbine High School shooting had happened. So there's a huge push for SRO officers in schools to stop school shootings. There has not been a single SRO officer in North Carolina, not in Raleigh, not in the South, not a single SRO in all 50 states to stop school shooting. So the whole point of you coming in here, because school shootings have still happened. We saw Parkland, about 3-4 years ago. The SRO officer at Parkland High School was literally running the opposite direction. The only other person on campus who had a weapon other than that school shooter was the SRO. He literally ran the opposite direction after he knew that there was a shooting going on. So it's like, you're not protecting us. You're not doing your job. Not a single one has stopped a school shooting. So you're not doing your job to begin with. So that's not the issue. So it's like, if you're not stopping shootings, then what are you doing? You know what you're doing? You're harassing Black and brown students. You are I mean, I don't even know. It's just the whole point of like antagonizing Black and brown students. You are, using your racial bias or whatever to, maybe help the students who are privileged and more fortunate or whatever. But then, like I said before, casting out Black and brown students, not showing them the same appreciation, stopping kids because they smell like weed, but letting other kids walk right by. I've told this story so many times of like Jakob and I, we were in the same freshman. It's called CNC. It's like a mix between like English and history class. And so in that class, it's kind of one of the advanced, like smart freshman classes or whatever. And so Jakob and I were like one of the few Black students actually in the class. And I'll never forget because we had it's like a mix of English and civics and econ. And so we were learning about the kind of right in the First Amendment and all kind of stuff, and the rights that we have as a U.S. citizen. And so they had our officer at Enlo to come in and give his talk to us. And mind you, I'm a freshman. Like I never really talked to him. I didn't really know him. So this was my first kind of impression of him. And so in the back of my mind, me, growing up Black, I've always kind of just had this instilled fear of police and cops. I don't care if you're an SRO. I don't care if you're a sheriff. Like if you have a badge and a gun, like you just inherently scare me. And so coming into that, I was already a little bit like worried, but it's like if he is really working with students, and he should be able to protect and serve all students, and that should include. So I shouldn't be scared. I know I shouldn't be scared, but still I'm scared. So he comes in the room, and so one way, somehow one question led to another, and so he was kind of asking us questions and like giving us the answers and kind of having a response thing with the students. And so then all of a sudden he got to this question, and he said, do you want to know why I arrest more Black students than white students? And the room got like dead quiet, and it was so awkward. And it was quiet for like a good 5 seconds, but it felt like 10 minutes. And so we're all kind of like, no, like what? And then he was like, it's because all the Black students smoke weed, and all the white students do crack cocaine, and it's easier to smell weed than it is to smell cocaine. And I was like, me, a little, Black freshman girl who's already intimidated by your presence, already being the only other minority or the few minority in the class as a Black student. And then for you to go and say that, like, as your first impression, that my heart sunk. Because then and there I knew I can't trust him to protect me, because he already has racial bias against me and the other Black students in here. I can't serve it, or he can't serve and protect me. I have to protect myself. And so it's like, then in that moment, I mean, that was like my freshman year, and I'm a senior now, and I've never trusted him since then, And so it's sad when we say, SROs are supposed to protect and stuff and serve all students, but they don't. And it's the sad reality. And so we don't need them. Instead, bring in community members as peacemakers who can help us to build actually relations with all students, not just the white students, having adults to come in, community members, community leaders to come in and build relationships with all students, form these bonds and connections. So then in case a fight does break out, there's training on how to stop that kind of stuff. Because half the time, I don't even see RSR fights. I see it's teachers or it's the security guards, who aren't armed or anything. And so it's like, RSRs aren't really doing much to begin with, other than like just riding around in their police cars antagonizing Black and brown students. So it's like, I don't want you in my schools. I want someone who looks like me, someone who I can go to talk to. Because the fact that we have over 2,500 students and only 5 counselors, that's not, we deserve more than that. The fact that we can have funding to go into this, but not into our mental health, that's a problem. And we need to fix that. We need to take that funding and move it over to things that'll actually benefit all students, not just white students.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that response. And there's just a lot of important points that you mentioned. Jakob, did you want to add something as well?
I want to emphasize one thing. We already have security guards in place. We already have people, they go around, they're patrolling, they already secure. There's no need for a school resource officer when we already have people who are trained to stop these kinds of stuff that SR are needed for, right? They're trained to just observe. They're not supposed to be doing anything else. They're not supposed to be involved with They're not supposed to be having dialects with them. They're only there in case of emergency. And that's what the SROs are doing, the direct. And the security guards that we already have, like when we say remove, school, we're not saying remove security. We want the security there. The security is already there. But the school resource officers, look at the statistics. Black and brown students, like two to three times likely to be arrested for something like crime related than opposed to a white student, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you can see in like elementary school, like when we see our kids getting arrested, we need to think, they be arrested, should they be, understanding what they did was wrong, and understanding, why he is like doing the bad things that he's doing, etc. So these are the messages that we need to think about when we're having such a conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that both of you shared, really important points. When you look at these schools, to their points, they already have security officers in place. So you're bringing in additional police force, which are then, of course, criminalizing Black and brown students and creating this system of, targeting and racism that is just perpetuating what's already there. So for you all to look at that and say, you know what, we already have this in place. Why are they there? If they're just creating, if they're emphasizing and they're supporting the school to prison pipeline system. So it's really unfortunate that school resource officers aren't doing what they are supposed to be doing in many of these schools. So and you all are taking civic act. You guys are doing civic engagement. You all are starting petitions. You all are out protesting. You all are out, having conversations and meetings with many people in your communities. What do you say to students who are watching this who also may want to say, you know what, that's also a problem at our school. We want to get involved. We want to fight. If they're all the way in Las Vegas or Texas or wherever, even Georgia, what do you tell those students as far as, increasing their civic engagement in the way you all are?
Absolutely. I'll go first. Hey, don't be afraid. Right? Don't be afraid of, don't be like just feeling like you're too nervous. You just don't feel like you're too young, because nobody is ever young to lead something so big, right? And for something that, if you see something that needs change, we need people who need this to get. We need people having the same conversations for years and years and years, and we conversation, so much talking, but not enough doing. So if you're watching, you feel like a problem, take action, take charge, gather up your friends, talk about, starting another coalition, maybe get a coalition thing going on, advocate for the stuff, because the stuff that we're talking about is hurting so many people, like so many people, so many children getting funneled into the school to prison pipeline, and we need to just, and the only way they do that is by coming together and advocating for each other.
Yeah, I like that. Be bold. Don't be scared. You just gotta do it. If you see wrong, you gotta go make it right. Just like Congressman John Lewis always stresses, we have to stress, getting into good trouble, right? What about you, Victoria? What would you say to fellow students out there who are watching this or who may watch this, and how they can get more involved?
I mean, oh, gosh, it's so funny because I remember like before I started this, it's so bad now. I probably been like, that's so hard. Like, I can't do it. Like, I can't, start an organization. I can't da 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 da. And like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know what? There are some nights when me and Jakob and the team will like stay up late and like have to finish stuff. And you think, it's summer. I want to know my summer. But it's like, or even me and Jakob, we're studying for the ACT. Or ACT, SAT. We're applying. College apps came out like a week ago. We have a life outside of this, but it's also like we really don't when you think about it, because I can't go to college. I can't apply for colleges. I can't worry about getting a job. I can't worry about driving if I'm shot dead in the middle of the street. If I don't have a life, if these cops keep brutalizing Black and brown people, and God forbid something happens to me, that college is done. That car is done. That job is done. And my future is done. So it's like, this is, while, I'm still working on my classes, all that kind of stuff. It's like, without me fighting for my right to live and my right to just be, it's like, I don't have anything else I can do, because I'm going to be dead, and it's sad. And people think we're exaggerating, but the fact that a few weeks ago, I found out a Black girl was sitting in a stoplight and got shot in her car. She was literally just sitting at a stoplight, just sitting there. And some white guys came up and shot her in the head. Like, that is horrifying to me, for the fact that I can get shot for just being Black, for just the simple fact that I'm a Black girl in America, and people have so much hate in their heart. It's like, I promise you that any fear that you may have of protesting or starting your own organization, like, it goes beyond that. It's, if we only just have us, me, Yakob, and the coalition, like, not unnamed. So anybody out there listening and stuff, like, please start your own organization, or maybe, or find one that's already going off in your area, and continue to add on to that and bring your talents and gifts to that, so that they can expand more and that kind of stuff. If you want to look up us, we're the Wake County Black Student Coalition, and you can follow us on Instagram at WCBSC. It's WCBSC, and on Twitter it's WCBSC. It's a lot. Like, if you want help, feel free to DM us, send us an email, and we will help you. Like, I promise you, I don't care if you're from North Carolina, I don't care if you're from Alaska. Like, there is social injustice everywhere. Until that ends, we have to keep fighting. So, like, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help you and guide you and, give you resources. And also, this goes out to all my high school kids, or anybody, just teenagers. Like, do not use this for clout, because if you use it for clout, like, that will come to the surface, and you're going to be exposed, essentially. Like, it's so much more than just a trend. Like, my life, not a trend, and don't see it as one. And so, yeah, the fact that people can go and post a black box on their Instagram, and then 1 minute they can go and post the beach pic, like, that's not okay. And so, while we appreciate you guys advocating for us and stuff, and trying to show support, don't let it stop after a month or a year. Like, we have to keep this going every second of every day and stuff, until truly justice has been served, and get these people out of the prisons and the school to prison pipeline and all that good stuff. So, yeah, please, if you have any questions, like, you are never too young, you are never too old, or anything, to fight for social justice and change. And so I know Yakob and I are more than happy to help in any way that we can.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Victoria. You certainly brought up a great point about how this really is a long-term fight. One thing we always say is, this is a forever fight. We're overturning centuries of oppression, centuries of hate, and Victoria's testimonies and Yakob's testimonies, you all, they are real and they are legit. You all have to realize the history of America. About 100 years ago, we were still seeing lynching happening on Black men and women in America. So don't think that 100 years later, all this is going to end. It's still happening. It's just happening in different ways in modern day. So please, please, please continue to do your part. Listen to what they said. There are seniors in high school already out here making so much change and using their platform for the good. And so we thank you all for being a light. We thank you all for the work you were doing, and encourage you to keep going. And you all bring us so much hope, because looking at you gives us hope that we will see a better future, because we have people like you continuing to fight. And we're here, in any way we can support. If you ever have a message you want to share, definitely let us know so we can get that out. And you already mentioned, any final words from either of you all before we wrap up today?
I want to add one last thing. I mean, don't stop, right? This movement, Black Lives Matter movement, is a movement powered and fueled by love, right? And in the power of love, and what we're doing right now is a form right? And we need to make sure that love overturns the hatred, right? And the only way we can truly win is if we all come together as a community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all so much. And one thing from one
That's it.
community, did you want to say something as well, Victoria? Did you add anything?
Oh no, I was just saying like what Jakob was saying, like I totally agree. Like I said, if you ever want to reach out to us, like we are an email away, we're a DM away, so like please feel free to do so.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to put your PDF link tree information in the caption as well. And just from me to you all, I'm your sister in this fight as well, and I plan to continue going as much as I can. I just want to also make sure to encourage you all to take care of your mental health. Victoria mentioned it earlier, but it's definitely so important. So make sure you are having some days to focus on you, because we need you to be strong so you can fight for however long we need you to fight, right? So thank you all so much for your courage, your bravery, and all your efforts. I'm a DM away as well, so definitely feel free to reach out anytime. And we just salute you all, and we encourage you all to keep going. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Jakob, Victoria, until next time, we'll see you all later. Thank you, everybody.